Paul Smith College is located in the heart of the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York, not far from the two-time Olympic village of Lake Placid. It is situated on a 14,000-acre campus and has multiple educational programs such as environmental science and forestry. It has created a Troops to Timber project whose goal is to educate transitioning soldiers on the opportunities at Paul Smith College and programs available to veterans. Its coordinator, Jim Hayner, provides an overview.
Troops to Timber is an initiative that's put on by Workforce Development Institute. We take transitioning veterans from any branch of the service and we bring them into Paul Smith's and we show them what we have to offer at the college and also with the School of Logging. The School of Logging gives you a month of training on all logging practices from hand felling to feller buncher operation. And we love to have veterans show up for these events because there's no better workforce than the veteran workforce. To have veterans come and give their time and dedication, that's what this is all about, the Troops to Timber initiative.
Paul Smith College was originally a hotel in the 1860s with a tourism theme, and needless to say, the forestry procedure and practice then was different than today, and horses were commonly used in logging as well as hotel operations. We now join Jessica Patrica at the Paul Smith College Horse Barn for an introductory equine workshop.
Welcome to the first virtual Troops to Timber equine workshop brought to you by Workforce Development Institute. My name is Jennifer Patrica. I am a U.S. Army veteran. I spent 3 years on active duty. I went on 1 humanitarian deployment, and now I am the Draft Horse Club president here at Paul Smith College. Today, during the workshop, we're going to be talking about a few things, discussing the safe introduction to being around and working with horses, equine use in forestry, including a quick overview of equine-assisted therapy with veterans. We're here at the Paul Smith College Horse Barn. Let's go meet the team. Hey, Dodgy. So this is Dodge. He is a 10-year-old halflinger. He's part of the team here at Paul Smith College. And itchy boy. He helps out with sleigh rides and carriage rides, and to give a quick introduction on how to be safe around these horses is Paul Smith College barn manager Sarah Doherty.
Hi everyone, my name's Sarah. I'm the Paul Smith College barn manager here in the Adirondack Mountains. These are the 2 horses that are part of our forestry department named Dana and Dodge. They help us with a variety of different projects here at the college, as well as some fun. We take them for sleigh rides, wagon rides. We use them in our classes, and we also have an expert team of students that helps care for them on the day-to-day basis. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how Dana and Dodge play a really important role in the sustainability of forest management practices here on our woodlots. Dana and Dodge have been trained to help ground skid logs as well as use implements. This is our harness. This is an exoskeleton of the horse that allows us to hitch them to different things like a wagon or a log. Today, Dana and Dodge are in their work gear, and we're about to go and bring them down to the road to pull some logs out of what was recently a small little pine bush. The 2 have been working here at the college now to help train students in safety around horses, horses in small rural forest and farm landscape work, as well as taking care of human and horse health and therapy. Our students play an important role in working with the team, not only to benefit themselves in their forestry degrees, but also in degrees such as biology and sustainable recreation. Dana and Dodge use their harnesses to assist in not only removing logs for firewood, but also for really cool projects like building the barn here and replacing our own fence posts. Dana and Dodge are also a very important part of our Forestry 101 courses. So when students first come to Paul Smith's, one of the big things we want to show them is the history of how forestry was once done and practiced here in the Adirondacks. And so horses and hand tools such as axes and saws were a really important traditional way for foresters to go out into these magical mountains and to be able to remove things like firewood or lumber to build their homes. So we start by showing our students how hand tools would be used, and then we bring Dana and Dodge out and show them how horses would have been removing logs from the forest before tractors and skidders were around. And so it's not only a really great experience for the students to see how things would have been done historically, but it's also a really important time for them to be outside, connecting with animals, connecting with nature, and feeling what I would call as one of the prize pieces of Paul Smith's as one of their own. Another really important aspect of working with the horses here at Paul Smith's College is making sure we're being safe around them. One of the things we'll cover today is how to walk behind a horse. You want to make sure you're always touching the animal and just letting her know you're there, or letting him know you're there. Hey Dana, hey Dodge, I'm behind you. Another thing we always make sure we're doing when we're with our horses is being aware of where we're stepping, because they do have horseshoes on that have nails in them. We also want to be very aware of where the horse is swinging their head and where their mouth is, because they do have sharp teeth. These are some of the things we would cover in our draft horse management class here at Paul Smith's College. Horse basics, how to be safe around the animal, and essentially, after we cover those, we're now ready to get our horses into the work mode. The equine industry here in America is booming with opportunity. Here at Paul Smith's, although we use our halflingers to focus on forestry and small farm initiatives, there are a lot of opportunities that our Paul Smith's College graduates are given through taking a course such as draft horse management here at the college. We've had several graduates who have taken draft horse management with myself, who have later gone on to work in places like the national parks on cool mule trains that bring down materials, say in like the Grand Canyon. And so these different jobs really allow us here at Paul Smith's to give our students a super strong foundation in horse safety, working horses in rural environments, so that later on in their lives they can go out wherever they'd like and bring this rare skill set with them and become incredible employees for different businesses across the country. Another example of our students going out after graduation and finding jobs would be in the small forest and farm industries. We have a lot of students who love the idea of using a horse instead of a tractor in their biodiverse organic farming practices. We've also had several students who have later gone on to do things with vet tech work, where they have specified or specialized in equine veterinary tactics, and we've also had students who have graduated who have gone on to use horses in things like a sugar bush instead of using mechanized materials like a four-wheeler, ATV, etc. Another really great program that we have here at Paul Smith's College is our work study opportunity. Students, after taking something like the draft horse class or a sustainable agriculture class, can apply to work down here at the barn with Dana and Dodge hands-on. This opportunity gives our students real-life experience and hands-on work that they can write on their resume that boosts their skill sets when going to apply for jobs after college. We start our days usually by work study coming down to our beautiful barn to let the horses out, give them breakfast, and make sure that their water is filled right to the top. By doing this, our students not only get to come down to a really quiet place and experience the Adirondacks in its finest, but they also get to bond with our team of horses and get to show off their skills on campus later on. While some students might think that this is a historical practice of using horses in the woods and on the farm, it's actually seeing a revitalization in the equine industry today. What folks don't usually think about when watching a horse in the woods is the sustainability portion of an animal versus a tractor doing that kind of work. So with the motion forward of knowing we need to use green energy, that we are fossil fuel dependent, a lot of folks are turning towards draft animal power on small farms and small forest operations as an alternative that's a little cheaper and a little more fun. Within the equine industry as well, we're seeing actually a boom in vet tech needs and in recreational opportunities like sleigh rides and wagon rides. The nostalgia of working horses is still very alive in America today. And now that we've talked a little bit about horse safety and the equine industry as a whole here in America, I'm going to turn it over to Jen to talk a little bit more about the Paul Smith College Draft Horse Club, the Veterans Club, and the role that horses play in the vets' lives here on campus.
So the best way for me to really talk about equine assisted therapy really is starting off with my own story. So when I first got out of the military, I went to a decent sized state university, and I knew leaving the Army that I had some sound sensitivities, but I wasn't really aware of the fact that I was going to have class size anxieties. So just knowing that there were 30 people in one room and I had no idea who any of them were, and I had to sit really close in order to hear my professor talking. I didn't like the fact that I knew there were so many people behind me, which I know is a really common thing that I hear from my friends in the Veterans Club and from people that I served with, is that nobody likes not knowing where the door is and who's in between you and the door. Having those anxieties really kind of hindered my college experience and my grades especially. So when I came here to Paul Smith's, a big driving force when I did my campus walkthrough was the silence. I liked that we were out in the woods and that I could hear the birds chirping. I could hear the lake, cresting against the shoreline, and there weren't a whole bunch of people talking in the background. There wasn't any added noise, nothing that I couldn't filter out. And my class sizes are tiny. I'm talking like 10 people or less in most of my core classes, which was phenomenal because then I could feel comfortable sitting at my desk up front. I could watch my teacher talk, I could hear her, and I didn't have to worry about who was behind me. Most of the students in my classes were the same across every class, every day, for each semester. It was the same group that just kind of followed all the way through. So you get really comfortable with these people. But on days that I do get overwhelmed and stressed or worried, or especially midterms and finals, I have the ability, just like any other student or any other veteran here at Paul Smith's, to come here to the horse barn and have a moment, take a moment to sit here on the hitching post or in the barn, or just hang out and listen to the nothing, just the silence. Listen to the horses out crunching in the snow as they trot around, as they eat hay, just the birds, anything. And it helps ground you because you can just focus on those things. And it's also nice too because as the saying goes, horses are a mirror to the soul. So whatever you're feeling, they're going to amplify it. They can't lie, and they won't. So if you're out in the pasture and you're just hanging out or whatever, or you're getting ready for a class with Sarah, and you notice that the horses are pacing around, you really have to, search your own soul and be like, okay, clearly the horses are frightened, and if you have any bit of fear in you, you have to acknowledge that. And you have to say, okay, I'm scared of this situation, of the fact that the horses are loose and running around and doing their own thing. And then you have to kind of come up with a plan, like, how am I going to change this? How can I get control over this situation and change my fear into confidence? Because, you can't just make fear disappear. You got to work with it. You got to work through it. And you'll notice as you work through your own feelings and you acknowledge things, that the horse's demeanor is going to change. They're going to go from being flighty or, angry looking, they have their ears back or something, to being much more relaxed as you relax. And it's nice having the ability to be out here and be in nature, but be held accountable for your feelings and to work through your traumas. I know several veterans in the Veterans Club and who also weren't active in the club, but came here to the barn, who had various jobs in the military, whether in the Navy or in the Marine Corps or the Air Force, where they, you know, they saw stuff and they did stuff, and those things are imprinted in their brains, and it's hard for them to just let them go. And we never really let them go, but by being around the horses and understanding how they're going to react to how we are and how we're feeling and what's on our mind that day, it really helps us acknowledge what's going on. It helps us take control of how we're feeling, and not push those feelings away, but to deal with them in real time, and to have an animal who genuinely will just happily do anything that you ask for and just wants to love on you, be there for you in a silent support. They just turn their head in and they'll give you a snuggle. Sometimes they'll give you a smooch, and they help build you back up. Hi-ho, Silver, away.
Good job, King. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. I know you can't hear me. Hey. Good job, King. Good job, King. And whoa. Dan.
Thanks for coming and hanging out with us today. I hope you enjoyed running around the barn with us as much as we enjoyed having you with us. And hopefully you take home a new little snippet of information. And if you're interested in learning more or finding out more about Dana and Dodge, or how we use them in the woods, or Paul Smith College in general, feel free to reach out to us on social media. You can find us on Facebook at Troops to Timber, or on the Workforce Development Institute page, or even on Paul Smith College. Hope to see you soon.